Boy, this is a hell of a title right here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Again, thank y'all so much for coming over. Now, uh, there was a lot of rumors about the whole Jay-Z, Beyonce, Grammys. And it's hard to listen to anything this brother is saying nowadays, but it says here, Kanye West exposes Jay-Z for buying awards for Beyonce, calling it SCAMMY'S, not the Grammys. Let y'all be the judge. I just want to hear what they got to say. We ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it.
Okay, so Beyonce finally achieved her lifelong goal of winning Album of the Year at the Grammys, but the internet is all up in arms about it because a lot of people believe that Jay-Z bought her the award and she didn't earn it fair and square, and girl, it is a hot mess. In case y'all forgot, Jay-Z tore the Grammys Academy a new one last year when he read them for filth, accusing them of hating on Beyonce and deliberately giving her what fans have referred to as compensatory Grammys while denying her of the big prize, Album of the Year. Well, fast forward to this year and Beyonce's massive win, and the rumor mill is spinning with some pretty wild and elaborate stories about the Carters. So who exactly did Jay-Z pay off for this award? And is this historical win a part of a bigger ploy to get positive press before his SA case goes to trial? Beyonce has long been the undisputed queen of...
Wait, did she, maybe they're gonna say it, but did she win Album of the Year for, was it that country album she did? So she never won Album of the Year for all her regular albums, but then she does this country one and went. Let's see.
For this award. And is this historical win a part of a bigger ploy to get positive press before his SA case goes to trial? Beyonce has long been the undisputed queen of the Grammy,
which has been dismissed or dropped,
racking up more nominations and wins than any other artist in history. With a staggering 99 nominations and 35 wins, her dominance was clear for all to see. But despite all the trophies she had collected over the years, there was one award that had continued to elude her before now, which is Album of the Year. Given her decades-long reign over the music industry, it would have made sense for her to have at least one Album of the Year win under her belt years ago, especially with albums like Lemonade and her self-titled album. But surprisingly, that wasn't the case. She had been nominated 4 times, yet each time she walked away empty-handed. And while she had 4 wins from multiple categories, she had only managed to secure 1 win from the highly coveted Big 4, Song of the Year. That victory came in 2009 when Single Ladies won Song of the Year, and it was crickets when it came to the major categories. The Beehive had been calling out the Grammys for years, accusing them of outright disrespect when it comes to Beyonce. Some fans even believe the Academy was deliberately holding her back, refusing to give her the top prize as a way to keep her in her place. Beyonce had been no stranger to Grammy recognition with multiple Album of the Year nominations under her belt. I Am, Sasha Fierce, Beyonce, Lemonade, and Renaissance had all been in the running, but despite the overwhelming love from fans and critics alike, she never took home the award. The snubs hurt, but none stung quite like Lemonade and Renaissance. Both albums were cultural resets, redefining music, visuals, and storytelling, yet they still lost out. By the time the 2023 Grammys rolled around, hopes were already high. When Renaissance was passed over yet again, the Beehive completely lost it. Chaos erupted online as fans dragged the Academy for days, calling them out for what they saw as blatant disrespect. And honestly, they had a point. Renaissance wasn't just successful, it was a force. The album debuted with 332,000 copies sold in its first week, and critics couldn't stop raving about it. It topped over 25 year-end lists, proving it was more than just hype. The numbers, the impact, the critical acclaim, everything pointed to a well-earned win. But somehow, the Grammys still didn't get the memo. Beyonce went into the 2023 Grammys with 9 nominations, including some of the biggest awards of the night: Album of the Year, Record of the Year, and Song of the Year. With numbers like that, it was almost a given that she'd be adding more trophies to her already massive collection. But what really had people talking was the possibility of her making history. At the time, she was tied with Quincy Jones at 28 wins each, just 4 away from breaking the record for the most Grammys ever won by an individual. And in true Beyonce fashion, she did exactly that. She walked away with 4 wins that night.
That is kind of strange and odd though. 28 and never won Album of the Year, and then you win for a country album. That is pretty wild, man. I ain't gonna lie.
bringing her total to 32 and cementing her place in Grammy history. But despite the record-breaking moment, there was still a cloud of disappointment hanging over the night. Once again, she was shut out of the major categories, and this time it was Harry's House by Harry Styles that took home Album of the Year. Fans were convinced she had been robbed again, and they dragged Harry for filth. The outrage was so intense that Harry is still feeling the heat 2 years later because he still keeps catching strays after all this time. Jay-Z was furious after Beyonce failed to win Album of the Year, and he gave a very rare interview where he talked about the situation and talked about how disappointed he was in the Grammys for not giving Beyonce her deserved win. He made some solid points about why Beyonce deserved to win Album of the Year, saying, "Look what it's done to the culture. Look how the energy of the world moved. They play her whole album in the club. Every remix is amazing. Everyone's inspired. It has inspired the world. It's inspiring creativity. When it just inspires creativity, that's an album. That has to be Album of the Year. It has to be." He then slammed the Grammys for being biased towards Beyonce, saying, "The truth is, we grew up wanting to be on the Grammys, and it was our goal. We just want them to get it right. That's what we want. Obviously, it's music and it's all subjective, but you got to be in the ballpark. That's all we want. We just want them to get it right because we love it so much. We grew up watching Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder won 3 out of 4 years in a row." To be fair, it's kind of obvious that there is a lot of bias against Beyonce by the Grammys because several voters have admitted to deliberately not voting for her just because she is Beyonce, even though she deserved it. Yeah, it's given hater energy. According to an article by Variety, a couple of Grammy voters admitted to purposefully not voting for her even though they know that she deserves the vote. One voter, who is a Grammy-winning producer engineer and has been a voter for almost 20 years, said, "I felt very strongly that Lizzo has changed this culture a lot. About Darn Time was a great track that everyone responded to. I also look at who's been there and go, okay, Adele, Beyonce, they always win. It's the same people over and over again, so I went for Lizzo." So the reason this person didn't vote for Beyonce was that he didn't want her to win because she's always been winning. And this just makes us question how objective the whole process is supposed to be. And hint, it's not as objective as it claims to be. But that's not the only one, because another voter said, with Beyonce, the fact that every time she does something new, it's a big event and everyone's supposed to quake in their shoes, it's a little too pretentious. Again, this person didn't vote for Beyonce because she's a big...
Like that whole, the video I watched, that the whole thank everybody how they thank Beyonce, that was very, very, very odd and strange and weird at the same time. So I don't know, man. 32 Grammys now? Boy. 32. When you think about all the greats in music.
Artist with a loyal fan base. His vote had nothing to do with the quality of her music or anything related to her music. He just didn't like the fact that people go wild over Beyonce and she has a strong fan base. Again, this is kind of giving hater vibe. Oh, but that's still not all. This other voter threw shade at Beyonce, saying, "Brandy's album is maybe the only one that has real musicians. The credit list on the album is not 8,000 people. 3 people made that record plus the band, and that's it." So yeah, Jay-Z had a point when he called out the Grammys for their bias, because it was clear as day that they were biased AF against her.
And it's opinion based, but you know, some things, you know, I don't want to embarrass this young lady, but she has more Grammys than everyone and never won Album of the Year. So even by your own metrics, that doesn't work. Think about that. The most Grammys, never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work.
Well, that clearly worked, because Beyonce finally won Album of the Year, and y'all can clearly see how happy she was.
As selected by the 13,000 voting members of the Recording Academy, the Grammy goes to Cowboy Carter, 16. Beyonce.
The beehive is buzzing.
The beehive is buzzing. Okay.
However, it didn't take long for the internet to start talking about how she didn't deserve it and how Jay-Z bought her award. She was nominated in the same category as Billie Eilish, Sabrina Carpenter, and Taylor Swift, all of who have really big albums. It was a toss-up, honestly, but for some reason, some people still felt like it was a shut-up award for Beyonce because the Academy didn't like being called out like that. Fans commented, so Jay-Z goes to the stage to rant about her not winning last year, and all of a sudden she won? Yeah, Roc Nation, you will pay for your frauds. What the F is that mess? How much did Jay-Z pay for that Grammy? It's literally her worst album and the worst album in that category. And what the F is this rigged-ish? It's given Jay-Z paid for that Album of the Year. The album sucks and we all know it does. Child, the hate is heavy with this one, but I want to know how you guys feel about these allegations. So sound off in the comments and then check out this next video.
Did I miss where Kanye was? Whatever. Okay. So for a second here, if you got any hate towards her, put it to the side. Just put it to the side for a minute. I'm just thinking about all the albums that she's had. I have not heard this country album. I haven't. But I haven't even heard the people, who was that? The Sabrina Carpenter, Billie Eilish, Taylor Swift. I ain't even heard their albums. But you gonna sit up here and tell me that of all the music and albums she done made, that this country album just won? Album of the... No, no, no. Nah. I do look at this like this is a shut up album. I mean, a shut up, like, here you go. Here's your award. Now we ain't got to ever give it to you again. Because, like, I don't know if she going to make another album, but I'm pretty sure, even though I haven't heard it, I'm pretty sure her other albums are probably way better than this one. Comment below, man, what y'all think about that. All right. Peace out.